Chapter 6:15. He wouldn't let Su Han go. The members of the Su family were all proud and stubborn, but Su Han's gentle demeanor made her seem somewhat pitiable. However, after this incident, Su Yingxue realized that Su Han was the strongest-willed among the sisters of the Su family. When she uttered the words, extinction, her resolute attitude surprised everyone. Her confident demeanor also convinced Su Yingxue that she still had a plan. Su Yingxue was curious about what Su Han intended to do. Half an hour later, Liang Jin reopened the trial. When questioning Min Jia, Liang Jin asked her several times, but she acted as if she hadn't heard. Madame Sheng supported her and whispered, Min Jia, speak up. Say you didn't do it. You didn't harm Su Han. Your brother and the seventh prince are ready. If you deny it, we can continue to delay the trial. Speak up. Min Jia remained silent for a long time, but her eyes were fixed on the Su family members. She had waited for so long and even sent people to the Marquis Manor, but she couldn't find Su Jinxian. There was no news of him. Her heart twisted with fear. If Su Yingxue is so ruthless and Jinxian fell into her hands, just the thought made her heart tremble uncontrollably. What are you saying? Speak up. Madame Xing kept shaking Min Jia's arm. Min Jia and Su Yingxue exchanged a glance, and the smile in Su Yingxue's eyes made Min Jia give up her struggle. She pushed Madame Xing away and apologized tearfully. Mother, I'm sorry. She had to tell the truth. It's me. Min Jia looked up with tear-filled eyes and confessed in court. I killed Su Han. I deliberately prepared the worms in the lotus pond. I even had someone push her into the water to harm her. Because one couldn't stand her, one came up with this despicable method. Min Jia, what are you saying? Chu Xiaotian roared coldly, gripping her shoulders. Are you out of your mind? You're my sister, how could you do such a thing? Min Jia held back her tears. She didn't know how to explain to her brother, who had put in so much effort to protect her. However, she closed her eyes and continued, not only did one harm Su Han with worms, but I also found people to make things difficult for her when my brother hated her after her operation. I beat her with my mother every day, and then I instigated my mother to kill her and sent people to hunt her down. My mother and one did it all. Everything. Min Jia finished speaking in one breath, looking like a puppet whose soul had been drained. Min Jia, Madame Sheng was so angry that she fainted. Although Liang Jin was shocked, it didn't stop him from making a judgment. The truth of the case is clear. It's true that Madame Sheng and Min Jia County Lord planned to murder Su Han. No. Lord Liang, my younger sister was confused for a moment. Oh. She is, Chu Xiaotian didn't even know how to explain himself. Min Jia had stabbed him in the back. Liang Jin was convicted according to the law, and Min Jia and Madame Sheng were exiled for 3,000 miles. As for Chu Xiaotian, he and Su Han would be forced to separate. Liang Jin ordered someone to draft a divorce letter and handed it to Chu Xiaotian. Chu Xiaotian threw the pen to the side, and his handsome face turned ashen. I won't sign it. One will never separate from Su Han. Even if everyone wanted to separate them, he wouldn't. He still had a trump card. I am the Prince of Yangon County. It won't be easy for Su Han to be removed from the imperial clan. You're right. Even after she dies, she will be buried in the ancestral grave of the imperial family. If Su Han wants to separate from brother, she must get the approval of the elders of the imperial family. She must open an imperial ancestral hall and burn incense to worship her ancestors. She can't cut off her relationship with brother with just a divorce letter. Chu Qingye said coldly. Chapter 6:16. cruel truth. He curled his lips and glanced at Su Yingxue as if mocking her. She had thought it would be easy to persuade Liang Jin to close the case and remove Su Han from the imperial clan, but it wasn't that simple. I have brought the registry of the imperial clan, Yihan said. Clad in a flowing black robe, Yihan appeared before everyone, prompting them all to kneel and bow in respect. Chu Xiaotian glared at the registry in Chu Yihan's hand, his eyes bloodshot. Even if the imperial uncle has the registry, so what? You don't have the sole authority over the entire imperial clan. You can't act unilaterally. Is that so? Chu Yihan's tone rose as he summoned a servant. He informed Chu Xiaotian, this matter has been approved by the emperor and stamped by Prince Shi, who oversees the clan. Once Lord Liang concludes this case, Su Han can be removed from the imperial clan. What? What did you say? Chu Xiaotian staggered back. How could this happen so fast? He had thought he had more time to plan, to keep Su Han by his side, even if only for a month, a day. Why was this happening so quickly? Taking the letter from Prince Shi, Chu Xiaotian saw the seal and realized it was authentic. He couldn't keep Su Han anymore. Reading the letter, Chu Qingye considered Chu Yihan's influence over the imperial clan and his ability to secure Prince Sai's seal in such a short time. Just how powerful was he? Chu Qingye felt choked up. He decided then and there not to interfere in Chu Xiaoshan's affairs. After suffering multiple losses, he wouldn't dare oppose Chu Yihan rashly again. Lord Liang, once this case is closed, one will see to it that Su Han is removed, Chu Yihan declared, turning to Liang Jin, who respectfully nodded in response. For now, we await the signature of the Prince of Yangon County on the divorce decree. Holding the clan registry, Chu Yihan exuded an air of superiority as he commanded, sign and stamp. I don't, Chu Xiaoshan's eyes reddened. He couldn't protect his mother and sister anymore. He couldn't let go of his wife, his Hainer. Your Highness, Hainer has something to show you. As everyone pressured Chu Xiaotian to sign the divorce decree, Su Han approached him with graceful steps. Her attire today was reminiscent of her pre-marriage days. It was fresh, beautiful, as delicate as a lotus. Chu Xiaoshan's oppressive feelings vanished completely after her words. She still cared for him. He was sure of it. Su Han held a brocade box, seemingly ordinary but emitting a cold aura. As Chu Xiaotian opened it, his eyes widened, and he stepped back. What is this? Amidst a pile of ice cubes lay a piece of meat. The meat's shape was peculiar, a small ball resembling a gourd but with bite marks and dark wounds, unsettling to behold. Chu Xiaotian didn't understand why Su Han showed him this. Su Yingxue understood. Though she had intended to bury it, Su Han insisted otherwise, preserving it in the ice room. Su Yingxue hadn't expected her to keep it until now. Su Han gently caressed the meat bale, her eyes reflecting maternal love. Your Highness, this is our child. It was in my womb for less than 2 months when I fell into the water. Those worms grew inside me and killed the child. Chapter 6:17, He let go, bite him to death. Chu Xiaoshan's heart suddenly felt pierced, and a heavy sadness surged from within. He carefully held the box, his eyes flustered and at a loss. How could this happen? This is the child of mine and yours. Our child. Why didn't you ever mention this? Mention it. Su Han laughed. By the time I knew about his existence, he was already dead. Yingxue performed surgery on me, removing the worms and the child. If it weren't for Min Jia and Madame Xing's schemes, her child would have grown safely in her womb, to be born in peace. But all of it was destroyed. Chu Xiaoshan's hands trembled as he clutched the box tightly to his chest. Anger, regret, despair, and a myriad of other emotions surged through him. He had never cried in front of others before. But now, he couldn't hold back the tears. My child is dead. My child, he was gone. He was already a father. But his child, dead at the hands of his mother and sister. It wasn't me, son. You can't blame me. I didn't know she was pregnant, I didn't know, Madam Xing, just awakening, heard Su Han's words. She trembled at the sight of the lump of flesh in Chu Xiaoshan's arms. How could she have known she would end up killing her grandson? Su Han, it's all your fault. You wretch, why didn't you tell us you were pregnant? You killed my grandson. Enough. Chu Xiaotian barked at Madam Xing. What more do you want? My child is dead because of you and Min Jia. What more do you want? Son, Madam Xing's heart tightened. She walked unsteadily to Chu Xiaotian. Son, you can't blame me. I just didn't like Su Han. I didn't intend to harm your child, he's still my grandson. Your grandson was born by your daughter-in-law. You harmed your daughter-in-law. How can you still have the face to see your grandson? Tears streamed down the old regional prince's face. He was also deeply disappointed in Madam Xing. Chu Xiaotian held the lump of flesh and signed the divorce decree. His eyes were empty as if he had lost his soul. He missed Su Han so much, but he didn't even dare to speak to her. He couldn't protect her, couldn't protect the child. What right did he have to speak to her now? Su Han signed the divorce agreement after him, and Liang Jin kept it. Chu Yihan crossed Su Han's name off the list of the imperial clan and announced, from now on, you are the daughter of the Su family. Su Han kowtowed to Chu Yihan. Thank you for your grace, your highness. She was finally free. Su Dingwei and Qin Wan comforted their daughter with relief. Su Yingxue walked up to Chu Yihan and bowed. She wore a charming smile. Thank you, your highness. Chu Yihan pinched her nose. I've said before, there's no need for thanks between us. Su Yingxue smiled sweetly. Just as she was about to leave with Chu Yihan, her clothes were suddenly tugged. It was Min Jia. She grabbed Su Yingxue with all her might, her eyes bloodshot, her face filled with resentment and unwillingness. Su Yingxue, we lost. My mother and I lost. My brother is gone too. You've achieved your goal. Can you? She panted, enduring the intense pain in her leg, then looked up again, her eyes filled with hope. Can you tell me what you did to brother Jinxian? Is he all right? I'm so worried about him. Please, I beg you, don't hurt him, okay? Chapter 618. Her hope shattered. She knelt and pleaded, which moved Su Yingxue slightly, but she had to impart a cruel reality to her. Min Jia County Lord, Su Jinxian is fine, but you need to reconsider this person. He is not what you perceive him to be. Today, she indeed schemed to keep Su Jinxian confined within the Marquis Manor under the guise of her grandfather, preventing him from intervening. However, she was certain that Su Jinxian was merely using Min Jia. Otherwise, Su Jinxian, who had arrived at the entrance of the government office before 1 hour, wouldn't have hesitated to come in. Because he knew very well that the situation was already doomed for the prince's mansion of Yangon County, and even Chu Qingye couldn't reverse it. He couldn't change it himself. So, he left. Decisively. If he truly cared for Min Jia, he would have shown up at least to reassure her. But his gaze never once fell upon Min Jia. What a stroke of misfortune. Min Jia shook her head, her eyes filled with innocence. No, Jinxian loves me deeply. He has given me many gifts. This, and this, all from him. He said these were his sentiments he didn't want others to see, so I wear them under my clothes. But I wear them every day, even when I sleep. He cares for me deeply. Min Jia pulled open her collar and sleeves to reveal the bracelet and jade pendant she wore. Su Yingxue glanced briefly and smiled sympathetically. Min Jia, County Lord, you have lived a life of luxury in the prince's mansion for years. Can't you recognize that these items you wear are worth only a few silver taels? After expressing sympathy, Su Yingxue found Min Jia's actions ludicrous. How foolish was Min Jia? Min Jia glanced down and murmured, I know. This isn't real jade, just stone, very rough and uncomfortable. And this collar isn't real gold, just painted. But these are gifts from him. He's gentle when he holds me, and his eyes are filled with adoration. Su Yingxue lost interest in listening further. As she left, she overheard Min Jia muttering to herself, Brother Jinxian will come to rescue me. He won't abandon me to exile. Even if I'm exiled, he'll come to see me off. He'll wait for me. Those words inexplicably evoked a sense of sorrow. Su Yingxue recalled in her previous life, Su Jinxian had married a high official's daughter and lived a life of luxury and wealth thereafter. Looking at Min Jia now, it was reminiscent of her past self, sacrificing everything for someone who didn't love her. Su Jinxian took advantage of this. During the ride back to the Marquis Manor, Yihan asked Su Yingxue, why didn't you deal with Su Jinxian as well? Do you have another plan? Su Yingxue shook her head. Su Jinxian is meticulous in his actions. He used Min Jia without leaving any evidence behind. Min Jia's testimony alone isn't sufficient to prove anything. With her sentenced to exile, no one will believe her words. Yihan nodded, caressing her face. But if he remains in the Marquis Manor, he'll be trouble. The thought of Su Yingxue living with someone with ill intentions in the Marquis Manor made him want to take action against Su Jinxian, either by killing those people or marrying her. Su Yingxue leaned into Yihan's embrace. Your Highness, there's no need to worry. I've already provoked the prince's mansion of Yangon County. What do I have to fear from Su Jinxian? His mother and sister have already met their end at my hands. Chapter 619, Su Yingxue's marriage. Yihan pinched the soft flesh on Su Yingxue's face and raised his eyebrows. You're right. Su Yingxue was indeed intelligent. After returning to the mansion, she informed Su Qingji about Su Han, finally putting his lingering worries to rest. After having dinner in the Marquis Manor, Su Han bid farewell and returned home with her parents. As she packed her belongings before leaving, Su Yingxue couldn't help but express some concern. Sister, wouldn't it be better for you to stay a few more days in the Marquis Manor? I could help you with your recovery. Su Han smiled faintly. No need. I'm fine now. I'll just follow the prescription you gave me when one get back. Su Yingxue wanted to say more, but Su Han anticipated her thoughts. I know you're looking out for me, worried that one won't handle the gossip when I return home, so you want me to stay in the Marquis Manor and have your support. Su Yingxue smiled in relief. Sister is perceptive and can see through everything. Su Han was truly remarkable. Although I am the daughter of the Marquis Manor, I have been married before. We have been separated for many years. Returning now might lead to gossip. Besides, one also want to return home to take care of my parents. Mother worries about me all the time and has lost weight. My father is injured, and my younger siblings are still young. As the eldest sister, it's time for me to take charge. Su Han was considerate, whether in the regional prince's mansion or at home. Sometimes, Su Yingxue didn't know whether to pity her. She was too considerate of others, neglecting herself. Or should she commend her for being so understanding, and willing to sacrifice her interests for the greater good? Perhaps both interpretations were valid. Su Yingxue didn't try to convince her to stay longer. Before leaving, Su Han gave her 2 suggestions. You and Ninth Prince are in love. It's time to inform grandfather and ask for his blessing. Also, Miaoyan is a clever girl. It's a waste to keep her at home. She should learn from you. It might lead to better opportunities in the future. Sister's insight is truly admirable. Su Yingxue couldn't help but praise. Su Han smiled faintly and went even further in her thoughtfulness. She told Su Yingxue that she had already consulted with grandfather and arranged for Yihan to be publicly thanked at the Marquis Manor. This would be the perfect opportunity to bring up her relationship with Yihan. Su Yingxue felt touched by Su Han's consideration. She made a mental note of this and, using the excuse of checking his pulse, probed Su Qingzi's thoughts. In the medicine hut, Su Yingxue put away the pulse pillow and said to Su Qingzi, "Grandfather's health is fine. He has some old injuries from years of battles, but with daily acupuncture and tonic herbs, he will surely live a long life. What's the use of living so long? Life comes to an end eventually." Su Qingzi was a cheerful person. In the past, he had wished for a longer life, with many ambitions left unfulfilled. He wanted to leave a legacy for generations to come. However, Long Shuli had once said, even if the body lives long, if the heart is corrupted, it's meaningless. It's better to have a clean and transparent heart and face death with equanimity at a certain age. At that time, he was truly astonished. Long Shuli was in her prime, yet she had such profound insights into life and death. But now, after all these years since her departure, he found her words increasingly reasonable. And now, he echoed the same sentiment to Su Yingxue. Su Yingxue's admiration for him grew. She teased Su Qingzi, "Don't you want to live longer and enjoy a few more years with your children and grandchildren?" Chapter 620, Xiao Ye's visit. Young girl, your words have a deeper meaning. You've also reached the age where you should be married. Do you have your ideas? Su Qingzi scrutinized Su Yingxue. She possessed the same breathtaking beauty as Long Shuli, and her medical skills were even more remarkable. Running a clinic and overseeing the affairs of the Marquis Manor, she excelled in everything she did. However, she was still a woman. How could she not have thoughts about marriage? Su Yingxue didn't deny it. She asked tentatively, "What kind of person does Grandpa think I should marry?" Su Qingzi had pondered this question carefully. Previously, when Su Yingxue showed interest in the 7th prince, he hadn't opposed the idea of her marrying into the imperial family. After all, this Marquis Manor was Su Yingxue's powerful maternal family, and she was certainly worthy of a prince. But now that he was back and saw that Su Yingxue didn't mention the 7th prince at all, and when he came to visit, she didn't even spare him a glance, it seemed that chapter was already closed. But her feelings for Yihan. Su Qingzi took out a visiting card from his sleeve. "This is the letter Grandpa received today. Noble Consort Xiao sent it on behalf of the Xiao family's eldest young master. Would you be willing to go and treat the Xiao family's eldest young master?" Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. The eldest young master of the Xiao family, Xiao Yu. She hadn't interacted much with the Xiao family in her past life, but she could tell from Noble Consort Xiao's demeanor how wealthy they were. It was said that the Xiao family's businesses spanned various industries, forming a virtual monopoly, and held sway over nearly half of the Great Qing dynasty's economy. The eldest young master of the Xiao family, Xiao Yu, was a business prodigy who had propelled the family to even greater heights. However, fate was unkind, and he hadn't lived past 30 due to poor health. Accepting the visiting letter, Su Yingxue thought to herself that Noble Consort Xiao was indeed astute. Previously, she had received lavish rewards without any indication of what was to come. Now, she was being presented with the eldest young master of the Xiao family. Grandpa, noble consort has previously come to my aid and bestowed me with many gifts. If one can heal the eldest young master of the Xiao family, I'm willing to give it my best effort. Su Yingxue had barely finished speaking when Su Qingji said, with your mother's medical skills, there's nothing that can't be cured in the eldest young master of the Xiao family's illness. Don't disgrace your mother. Su Yingxue was speechless. Why did she feel like Grandpa was overestimating her? No. Grandpa was overestimating her mother. If she couldn't cure him, it would be like tarnishing her mother's reputation. Oh my God, so frightening. Suddenly, she felt a psychological pressure. The next day, Xiao paid a visit. After paying his respects to Su Qingji naturally introduced Su Yingxue to him. Su Yingxue looked at the eldest young master of the Xiao family. His face was like jade, his skin smooth. If she hadn't known his identity beforehand, she would have thought him to be a delicate young master from some noble family. She never would have imagined that he was a powerful businessman in the business world. There was no trace of the cunning of a businessman in his eyes. He was calm and collected. But he was also very aloof. Upon seeing Su Yingxue, he merely nodded. Hello, Miss Su. Su Yingxue returned the greeting, and he said, it's my first time visiting Old General and Miss Su. Hey, raise a small gift as a token of respect. One hope Miss Su will accept it. Su Yingxue smiled and replied, young Master Xiao is too kind. Turning around, she was nearly blinded. The courtyard was filled with boxes, the so-called small gift mentioned by Xiao. How wealthy was the Xiao family? Xiao paid no mind to her astonishment, showing no change in expression. Chapter 621. Su Miaoyan likes a white and clean brother. However, Su Yingxue noticed that Xiao seemed to resist her a bit. At that moment, Su Qingji spoke up. I have some acquaintance with Master Xiao. On the battlefield, the Xiao family provided us with a lot of grain and supplies. I've always remembered this kindness. Now that Master Xiao and noble consort Xiao have entrusted me, I'll let my granddaughter give it a try. I hope it can alleviate your illness. Old General, you're too kind. Supporting the Xiao family's military needs is my duty. I'll have to trouble Miss Su with my illness. Xiao made a slight bow. Draped in white, he exuded refinement, truly a young master of unmatched elegance in the world. Truly irresistible. Su Yingxue gazed at his face, feeling compelled to cure him. Oh dear. She hadn't expected that Su Miaoyan, who was just as infatuated, was lurking outside. Su Miaoyan had only intended to sneak a peek at the guest. Hearing that the young master of the Xiao family was unparalleled in appearance, she lost her footing and stumbled inside. Things took an awkward turn. Luckily, she was quick-witted. She scampered over to Su Qingji and sweetly greeted him while hugging his arm. Grandpa, Miaoyan greets you. It's you. You're the only one so clumsy in this manner. Su Qingji lovingly tapped her nose, then held her hand, and introduced her to Xiao. Young Master Xiao, this is my granddaughter, Su Miaoyan. One apologize for her impetuousness. It's okay. Xiao's indifferent eyes gained a glimmer of light. The moment Su Miaoyan appeared, he sensed that she wasn't here just to pay respects. Yet, he found her clear, lively eyes appealing. Pure, like early spring snow. Though tinged with a hint of mischief, one could tell she hadn't been tainted by the world. Grandpa, which young master is he from? Su Miaoyan asked to cover up her previous blunder. How could you not know who he is when you're sneaking a peek? Su Yingxue, arms crossed, immediately exposed Su Miaoyan. Su Miaoyan's face puffed up, turning red. I wasn't peeking. Sister framed me. It's you who covets young Master Xiao's beauty. Su Yingxue raised an eyebrow. Oh, now you're deflecting blame. Come here. Su Yingxue reached out to grab Su Miaoyan and tickle her. Su Miaoyan cried out, filling the hall with their laughter. Impudent. We have guests. Yingxue, you're not behaving like an elder sister. Su Qingji had to scold them both. Su Yingxue released Su Miaoyan. She had forgotten that Xiao Yu was still present. He was too inconspicuous. Having been accustomed to Chu Yihan's imposing presence, she easily overlooked someone as indifferent as Xiao Yu. Sister, it seems this young Master Xiao isn't your type, Su Miaoyan whispered mischievously to Su Yingxue. Nonsense. You're just a young girl, yet you think so much. Su Yingxue playfully poked her head. This girl was precocious. Su Miaoyan winced but caught Xiao Ye's smiling gaze. Oh. This brother is handsome. Su Miaoyan thought. Compared to her sister's ninth prince, she preferred this kind of fair, clean brother. Just looking at him made her want to rush over and take a bite. Su Yingxue took Xiao Yu to the medicine hut, with Su Miaoyan quietly trailing behind. When Su Yingxue needed someone to assist her, Su Miaoyan was quite diligent. Chapter 622, The frail and sickly Xiao Yu for instance, giving Xiao Yu a pulse pillow and helping him roll up his sleeves. These tasks were originally meant to be carried out by Xiao Ye's attendant, Xiao Si. But Su Miaoyan blinked her watery eyes. Sister has always been used to me helping her by her side. This little miss looked adorable. Who could resist her? If it weren't for Xiao Si guarding Xiao Yu and preventing him from leaving, he would have been persuaded by her to go outside. Seeing that Xiao Si wasn't budging, Su Miaoyan took the opportunity to chat with Xiao Yu. Young Master Xiao, what's your full name? How old are you this year? Xiao Yu didn't respond immediately. Instead, it was Xiao Si who eagerly chimed in, his family name is Yu. He is 20 this year. Before Xiao Si could finish, Xiao Yu gave him a cold glare. With that glance, he seemed to transform into a different person, cold and ruthless. Xiao Si was so frightened that he immediately fell silent, muttering to himself, haven't one always been speaking on behalf of others? His young master was a man of few words, seldom engaging in conversation with others. However, facing Su Miaoyan, Xiao Ye's lips parted. Xiao Yu, 21. Su Miaoyan's heart melted at the sound of his voice. This brother's voice was so pleasing. Like aged wine in an alley, it carried an intoxicating resonance and a faint hoarseness. Moving closer, Su Miaoyan extended her small hand toward Xiao Yu, feigning ignorance. Which character? Brother, could you write it for me to see? Xiao Si was dumbfounded. Miss, you come from the Marquis Manor, yet you don't recognize this character. Ignoring him, Su Miaoyan pouted and extended her fair and tender palm before Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu, who typically maintained distance from others and rarely touched them, reached out his finger and inscribed the character Yu onto her fair palm. There was a thin layer of calluses on his fingers, likely from years of holding a brush. When his finger traced her palm, it tickled and felt slightly cold. Su Miaoyan held Xiao Ye's hand, warming it up. She even complimented him, brother is handsome, and your name is beautiful too. Her pure, sweet smile warmed everyone's hearts. For some reason, a smile broke through Xiao Ye's usually indifferent demeanor. Xiao Si was utterly shocked. Young master, are you smiling? Was he blind? Still in disbelief, Xiao Si watched as Su Yingxue approached with all her prepared items. Glancing at Su Miaoyan, who had been taking advantage of the situation, Su Yingxue reminded her, "That's enough. Can you let go of my patient's hand now, Su Miaoyan?" Su Yingxue's reprimand caused Su Miaoyan to stiffen and retreat to the side. Naturally, she released Xiao Ye's hand. As Su Yingxue directed Xiao Yu to place his hand on the pulse pillow, their skin made contact. When Su Yingxue, the doctor, touched Xiao Yu, a trace of evident disgust flashed across his eyes. Pretending not to notice, Su Yingxue turned away, only to find Su Miaoyan smirking at her as if to say, "See, the handsome brother likes me, not you." Tisk. Su Yingxue rolled her eyes at her. She was a doctor, not a coin. She didn't need everyone to adore her. However, as she examined Xiao Ye's pulse, she felt that things were becoming more complicated. She inquired of Xiao Yu, "Did Madam give birth to a young master prematurely? Are you congenitally weak?" Xiao Ye's attitude toward her was markedly different from his treatment of Su Miaoyan. He remained silent, and Xiao Si answered on his behalf, "Yes, when Madam was 8 months pregnant, a Taoist visited, warning of an evil spirit's influence. The young master was born prematurely and he's frail and sickly." Su Yingxue interjected. Chapter 623, Let his uncle know, yes, yes, yes. That's it. Xiao Si seemed a little excited. Miss Su is truly a genius doctor. You can even discern this. Xiao Yu didn't say anything, but the expression in his eyes indicated his dissatisfaction with Su Yingxue. Even ordinary doctors could diagnose this. However, he had been in poor health since childhood. Over the years of illness, his father had always worried that the words of the Taoist priest would come true and that he wouldn't live past 30. So, they searched far and wide for renowned doctors, but even so, there was no improvement. Meanwhile, his mother spent her days in tears, blaming herself for not being able to give him a healthy body. And himself. The Xiao family has a vast business empire. I reckon no less than 10 people are serving young Master Xiao closely, right? Su Yingxue casually inquired. It was Xiao Si who replied again. Yes, I serve young Master's calligraphy and travel. Young Master has 4 personal maids, 4 people in the accountant's room, and about 10 to 20 people who attend to him daily. Su Yingxue took a deep breath. Just as I suspected. Xiao Yu sensed that Su Yingxue's words held deeper meaning and asked, "What do you mean?" Young Master Xiao has too many people around him. It's not conducive to your recovery. Why not keep a few loyal ones? The others shouldn't linger around you. It would be beneficial for your condition. Su Yingxue released Xiao Ye's hand and began prescribing him a treatment. After writing the prescription, Su Yingxue instructed Xiao Yu to follow it for 3 days before coming to the Marquis Manor for a follow-up. Seeing that Su Yingxue didn't ask much and didn't say much, Xiao Yu, not even sure if she understood his symptoms, didn't quite believe in her medical skills. He took it as a favor to his aunt and immediately left for the Marquis Manor. But Su Miaoyan saw through the situation. She took Su Yingxue's arm, her eyes probing. "Sister, is young Master Xiao's illness not that simple?" It seemed like something that couldn't be solved with just a few prescriptions. Su Yingxue rubbed her head. "It's so complicated that I don't even know how to broach the subject." If the Xiao family were an ordinary family, she would have told Xiao Yu directly that the people around him were not trustworthy. They had poisoned him since childhood, and his years of illness were caused by the accumulation of toxins. But he was the young master of the Xiao family, the heir to immense wealth. If she told Xiao Yu, and he caused a commotion upon his return, Marquis Manor would not find peace. She couldn't be so rash. She needed to think carefully about how to express herself. In Fengzao Palace, the person Chu Qingye had sent to monitor the entrance of Marquis Manor came to inform him that Xiao Yu had left. The Empress had an irreconcilable grudge against Su Yingxue. Chu Xiaoshan's matter had failed to significantly harm Marquis Manor and had even allowed them to gain such a huge advantage. This angered her. Su Yingxue, that little wench, has she colluded with the Xiao family again? She's taking advantage of everything. It may not be advantageous this time, mother. The situation of the Xiao family is complex. If Su Yingxue dares to meddle, she won't emerge unscathed. Besides, my 9th imperial uncle has always cared about Su Yingxue. No matter what, I must inform my uncle about her interaction with Xiao Yu. A hint of malevolence flashed in Chu Qingye's eyes. After enduring so much at Su Yingxue's hands, Chu Qingye had learned to be patient. When he had his power, he would seek out Chu Yihan and Su Yingxue to avenge himself. That night, in noble consort Xiao's palace. When Granny Song approached noble consort Xiao, she found noble consort Xiao reclining on the chaise lounge, engrossed in reading a romance novel written by Chu Jinling. Chapter 624. He wanted to see the world. The corners of her eyes reddened as she read, and she sighed. Linger's writing is getting better and better. The stories he wrote recently always make me unable to hold back, Your Majesty. Granny Song knelt in front of her. Noble consort Xiao put down her book and wiped the corners of her eyes. Her every move was noble and elegant. What's the matter? She asked. Miss Su said that she wants to see Your Majesty. She wants to personally tell you about young Master Ye's illness, Granny Song said. Noble consort Xiao raised her slender eyebrows. She didn't tell you, but she specifically told me. Looks like Ye's illness is very troublesome. Noble consort Xiao supported her forehead with her hand and thought for a moment. Forget it. Go and summon her to the palace tomorrow. I'll hold a banquet to entertain her. Yes, Your Majesty. Do you want to invite young Master Yu into the palace? Granny Song asked. Noble consort Xiao said lazily, Yu is too cold. The palace is already deserted enough. Let him come back later. Granny Song didn't ask anything else and immediately went to work. The next day, Su Yingxue tidied herself up and planned to enter the palace to meet noble consort Xiao. It was rare for Su Miaoyan to see her wearing a traditional dress, so she quickly came up to tease her. Is the 9th prince entering the palace today? Su Yingxue patted her little head. Although the 9th prince isn't around, one still have to go out and meet people, okay? Isn't that so? When the 9th prince wasn't around, my sister was always in the clinic or the medicine hut. She never dressed up properly, so it's not as grand as today. This light purple dress is the latest style of the 1000 Jiao Pavilion. There are 100 pearls of the same size on the hem of the dress. If my sister wears it, I don't know how many noble ladies in Jiangdu City will be envious. Su Yingxue curled her lips. Su Miaoyan, aren't you being too clever today? Tell me, what do you want? Su Yingxue knocked on her head. When Su Miaoyan blinked, she looked the same as when she was young, full of mischief. Although it wasn't bad, there was something wrong. Su Miaoyan pouted. Sister has seen through me, so I'll just say it. One want to go to the palace with sister. Mother always locks me up at home and doesn't even bring me to decent banquets. She's afraid that 111 caused trouble at a young age, so one want to see the world. Su Miaoyan's face was filled with I want to see the world, which made Su Yingxue somewhat unable to bear it. It's not wrong for auntie to be cautious, but it's time for a lady of your age to see the world. Su Yingxue patted her head and said. Su Yingxue recalled her past life. Because of Su Dingheng's obstruction, she did not go out and see much of the world. Later on, she was brought out by Su Yuro to attend banquets and was ridiculed quite a bit. She did not want the same thing to happen to Su Miaoyan. Su Miaoyan was not stupid, so she carried Su Miaoyan into the car. Su Miaoyan was wearing a light yellow dress, and her small face was covered with a thin layer of makeup, making her look even more lively, like a little butterfly that was about to fly. She was extremely grateful to Su Yingxue in her heart. Sister Xue, don't worry. One definitely won't cause you any trouble. I'll learn well from you. What are you learning from me? To learn the rules. Aren't rules very important in the palace? Su Yingxue couldn't hold back her laughter. I'm in the imperial palace now, so one rarely adhere to the rules. Why don't you learn from me and discover how to make yourself more capable so that the rules will take a detour when they encounter you? Su Miaoyan's eyes were wide open, and the admiration for Su Yingxue in her eyes had increased to another level. Chapter 625. Pretty brother, you're here too. Although she said that, Su Yingxue still explained the rules of the palace to Su Miaoyan. The emperor and empress could not be provoked, especially the seventh prince who held a grudge against her. As for the rest, Su Yingxue thought to herself that they were visiting noble consort Xiao's palace today. Noble consort Xiao was generous, so even if Su Miaoyan made a small mistake, she wouldn't be blamed. Perhaps, based on her innocence, she might even reward her with a pile of gold hairpins. Su Miaoyan was very obedient. On the way into the palace, she didn't even peek outside the carriage curtains. After getting out of the carriage, she obediently followed Su Yingxue, walking along the palace path. However, Su Yingxue found it strange. The attendants didn't take her to noble consort Xiao's place but brought her to Fengzao Palace. Su Yingxue was a bit suspicious. Granny, this is the Empress Middle Palace. The attendant simply led the way. Upon reaching the entrance of Fengzao Palace and seeing Granny Song, she left. Seeing Su Yingxue's puzzled expression, Granny Song approached and explained, Miss Su, when the Empress heard that you were coming to the palace today, she insisted on hosting a banquet for you. Su Yingxue narrowed her eyes. It seems the Empress misses me a lot. What was she up to now? Sister, will one cause you trouble if one accompany you to the Empress Palace? The moment Su Miaoyan heard about the Empress, she remembered Su Yingxue's past encounters with her and her son. Wasn't this a revenge scheme? Su Yingxue put her arm around Miaoyan's shoulder. Don't worry. Just bow and keep quiet. Miaoyan nodded. Granny Song looked at Miaoyan and asked, Miss Su, who is this? It's my third uncle's youngest daughter, Miaoyan. I wanted to introduce her to noble consort Xiao and let her see the world, but unexpectedly, we ended up at the Empress Palace today, Su Yingxue explained with a faint smile. Granny Song, being an elder in the palace, naturally knew the Empress' intentions. If Su Yingxue were alone, she wouldn't worry. But this little girl. Nice to meet you, Granny. As they stood at the entrance of Fengzao Palace, an elegant male voice greeted them. Su Yingxue and Su Miaoyan looked toward the source of the voice. Xiao Yu, dressed in a light bamboo-colored brocade robe, sat in a wheelchair. Though his features were delicate and distant, his eyes suddenly brightened. She was here too. Xiao Yu was pleased to see Miaoyan. However, considering her innocence, untouched by worldly affairs, Su Yingxue's decision to bring her to the imperial palace seemed questionable, prompting a hint of blame towards Su Yingxue. Hey, brother, you're here too. You look even better today. Upon seeing Xiao Yu, Miaoyan's eyes curved like crescent moons, causing Xiao Yu to unconsciously smile. Thank you. You're welcome, brother. You look so good. Meeting you is my blessing. Miaoyan said cheerfully. Miss Su, your sister is quite eloquent. Xiao Si praised. He had encountered many clever and quick-witted girls with his young master, but Miaoyan's aura was unique and refreshing. Moreover, their young master seemed to like her company. Seeing Miaoyan's joyful eyes, Su Yingxue realized that her ability to speak depended on the person she was interacting with. During their confrontation with their aunt earlier, Miaoyan had displayed a remarkable skill for words. Chapter 626, Is Your Hearing Bad? However, she didn't see it as a bad thing, so she didn't restrict her. Instead, she took her hand and said, let's go meet the Empress. Okay. Su Miaoyan responded crisply. Before leaving, she couldn't resist turning back to steal a glance at Xiao, giving him a sweet smile. As the autumn wind brushed over Xiao's shoulders, he felt that the scene before him was not as bleak as before. Young master, shall we go in? Xiao asked, noticing Xiao's silence. Xiao grunted in agreement before cautiously pushing his wheelchair forward. Although Xiao's body was weak, making it difficult for him to walk normally and requiring him to use a wheelchair, after leading the Xiao family for so many years, no one dared to disobey his orders due to his frailty. In the main hall of Fengzao Palace, Su Yingxue escorted Su Miaoyan to greet the Empress. The Empress gestured for her to take a seat. Glancing around, Su Yingxue recognized familiar faces in the hall. Noble Consort Xiao sat beside the Empress, Chu Qingye sat opposite, and Xiao Yu, who had just arrived, was seated beside her. Su Yingxue stole a glance at the Empress, pondering silently, what schemes does this Empress have in mind? Su Yingxue, I heard that you were planning to visit Noble Consort Xiao. Coincidentally, Noble Consort Xiao's family is in Jiangdu City as well, so I invited you all to the palace for entertainment. You don't think one was being rude, do you? The Empress sat gracefully, speaking with a smile. Su Yingxue returned the smile. Of course not, Your Majesty. Your generosity is deeply appreciated. Internally, she couldn't help but wonder about the depths of the Empress' schemes. After exchanging pleasantries with Xiao, the Empress assigned Chu Qingye to attend to him. Chu Qingye came to toast Xiao, who raised his teacup and said, I'm feeling unwell, Your Highness, so I'll stick with tea instead of wine. Please don't take offense. Chu Qingye personally poured wine into Xiao's cup. Young Master Xiao, this is the palace's imperial brew. Even though the Xiao family is the wealthiest in the world, without a reward, it's rare to taste it. Young Master Xiao, you should try it. Xiao didn't lift the cup, he refrained from drinking. Noble Consort Xiao's voice echoed from above, Seventh Prince, thank you for your concern. Our heir has been fragile since childhood. It's rare for him to come to Jiangdu City for treatment. If you don't wish him ill, please refrain from troubling him. Hearing Noble Consort Xiao's words, Su Miaoyan leaned against Su Yingxue, whispering, Sister, Noble Consort sure dares to speak her mind. Even she understood that the seventh prince was a prominent candidate for the crown prince and the empress' legitimate son. Ordinary ladies in the harem wouldn't dare offend him easily, but Noble Consort Xiao blatantly implied ill intentions. How impressive! Su Yingxue praised, rubbing Miaoyan's head. That's the confidence her family gives her. The Xiao family may be the wealthiest, but Noble Consort still rules the harem. Leaning against Su Yingxue, Miaoyan whispered, Noble Consort's confidence comes from her family, but yours is self-made, sister. Miaoyan blinked, admiring both of them. Su Yingxue gave her a thumbs up. That's high comprehension. However, the people around them were less pleasant. Chu Qingye persisted in urging Xiao to drink, despite his clear reluctance. Considering Xiao's condition, Su Yingxue spoke up, Seventh Prince, as Noble Consort already mentioned, young Master Xiao isn't feeling well. Can you not hear properly? Su Yingxue's words were decidedly impolite. Chapter 627, brother will get sick if he drinks it. Chu Qingye had been on the receiving end of her scoldings many times, so he didn't get angry every time. This time, he sneered. Suing Xue, since you're so concerned about young Master Xiao, why don't you drink this glass of wine for him? Chu Qingye passed the wine to Suing Xue. Su Yingshu's eyes were filled with disdain. Is seventh prince drunk and talking nonsense? Trying to spread rumors about him and Xiao Yu? Dream on. Seeing that Suing Xue was unmoved, Chu Qingye continued to pressure Xiao Yu with his wine glass. Noble consort Xiao had already stood up, ready to teach Chu Qingye a lesson, when the empress grabbed her hand. Sister, they're just younger ones talking and drinking. Why do you need to step in? Come and have a drink with me. Noble consort Xiao snorted coldly. Has Empress forgotten how to discipline your son recently? As she spoke, she was about to shake off the Empress' hand, but to her surprise, the Empress held her especially tightly. The Empress raised her eyebrows at her. I know you've always been arrogant, but if you dare to drag me down in Fengzao Palace today, do you know the consequences? Consequences. The corners of noble consort Xiao's lips curled up slightly. She had underestimated her. The Empress wanted to trick her. The Empress saw that she was not convinced and sneered. Your precious son is locked up at home writing books. He hasn't come to pay his respects to you for a few days, right? If one let people burn down his bookstore, do you think he will be very sad? You. Noble consort Xiao gritted her teeth. This time, the Empress had her under control. Her only weakness was Chu Jinling. Ever since that child separated from Lin Cixi, he had been feeling bad and had been locking him up. If something happened to the bookstore again, he would not be hurt, but his heart would be lost for a long time. As his mother, how could she bear to? Noble consort Xiao was being pestered by the Empress, and Chu Qingye had been forcing her to drink. Suing Xue felt that Chu Qingye was full of evil ideas, and Xiao Yu seemed unable to reject him. However, her relationship with Xiao Yu was only that of a doctor and a patient. There was no need for her to care about Xiao Yu's other matters. After all, Xiao Yu and Chu Qingye still had imperial power and the Xiao family behind them. Your Highness, brother can't drink. Can one help him drink? It was unknown when Su Miaoyan had walked in front of Chu Qingye. Her palm-sized face was delicate and cute, and her glass-like eyes were so clear that it was as if the water was flowing out. Chu Qingye smiled. You're still a child. Do you know what wine tastes like? This was the liquor he had specially prepared for Xiao Yu. I don't know, but brother is not in good health. He will get sick if he drinks. I don't want to see him get sick, so can one help him drink? As Su Miaoyan spoke, she reached out her small hands to take Chu Qingye's wine glass. The man's slender hand snatched the glass of wine away before her fingers could touch it. Xiao Yu's voice was emotionless. One appreciate your kindness, your highness. Brother, you can't drink it. You'll get sick. Su Miaoyan rushed towards him anxiously. Since she couldn't snatch it, she might as well spill this glass of wine. Let me do it. Before Xiao Yu could finish his wine, Su Yingxue snatched his wine cup and downed it in one gulp. Then, she placed the cup heavily on the table. Seventh Prince, are you satisfied? After downing a glass of hard liquor, Su Yingxue's face quickly burned up, and a blush crawled up her cheeks. Miss Su. Sister. Xiao Yu and Su Miaoyan spoke at the same time. The former was slightly shocked while the latter widened his eyes in shock. Su Miaoyan bit her lip and thought that she was done for. She had caused trouble for her sister, but she had completely forgotten that she was already in Xiao Ye's arms and her soft face was leaning on Xiao Ye's chest. Chapter 628. Xiao Yu has gone out. Oh, a cold fragrance tickled his nose. The little one sniffed and couldn't help but say, "Brother, it smells so good." The scent on him was very pleasant, very alluring, making people even more eager to approach him. Xiao gently stroked her small face. In his usually indifferent eyes, there was a hint of concern. "Did you fall?" "No." Miaoyan stood up, thanked brother for his concern, and immediately ran back to Su Yingshu. She looked at Su Yingshu's flushed face and guiltily lowered her head. "Sister, I've caused you trouble." Su Yingshu's rationality was clouded by the alcohol. She pressed down on her head heavily. "You, stay by my side. Don't move any more." This wine was too damn intoxicating. Xiao felt a bit worried about Su Miaoyan. Glancing at Su Yingshu and seeing her flushed face, he thought that Chu Qingye's motives might not be so simple. Chu Qingye's lips curled into a sinister smile as he returned to his seat. This glass of wine had trapped Su Yingshu. Although her alcohol tolerance wasn't great, she wasn't so weak that she would collapse after one glass. Chu Qingye had learned to play dirty. If Xiao drank this glass of wine, he would lose at least half his life. However, she still had something to discuss with noble consort Xiao, so she couldn't allow herself to continue fainting like this. After saying that she wanted to go out for a walk, she wanted to go out alone and go into Medicine King Valley to make hangover soup. The Empress agreed. Su Miaoyan felt like she was sitting on pins and needles in the hall. However, she thought that Su Yingshu was powerful after all. If she went out now, she might cause trouble for Su Yingshu. Just as she was tearing the handkerchief apart, Xiao's low voice was heard. "I'll go and see your sister for you. Sit here and don't move." Su Miaoyan's eyes lit up, and she sweetly said, "Thank you, brother. Brother is too sweet." Su Miaoyan could not help but think. Xiao turned his wheelchair and was about to leave. Xiao followed behind him, but Xiao said, "Stay here and watch her." "What?" young master, be careful." Xiao couldn't believe that Xiao pushed the wheelchair out alone just to make him stay and look at Su Miaoyan. Xiao did not dare to disobey Xiao's orders and stood behind Su Miaoyan, firmly watching her. It was Xiao's first time entering the palace. He had always been cautious. He would never step into a place he was unfamiliar with and full of danger, let alone everyone around him. He came alone in a wheelchair. However, he came out of nowhere and could not bear to see the little girl's frightened and helpless look. As soon as he came out, Lu Fu, who was beside the Empress, came forward eagerly. "Young Master Xiao, are you looking for Miss Su?" There was a trap in his words. Xiao did not want to talk to him. However, in this huge Fengzao palace, if no one led the way, he would not have been able to find Su Yingshu for a while. He raised his head and pursed his thin lips. "Please tell me where Miss Su is. I'll find her myself." All right. Young Master Xiao, walk from here and cross the 9 winding corridor. Miss Su is sitting under that corridor." Lu Fu saw Xiao turning his wheelchair in that direction and squeezed out a smug smile on his face. Chu Qingye was standing in the fake mountain opposite the winding corridor. Lu Fu quietly came to his side and reported, "Your Highness, this young Master Xiao is very cautious. He did not let me lead the way, but he still went." Chapter 629, Xiao was seriously injured. Chu Qingye sneered, "Being cautious, so what? I have no intention of harming him." "Indeed, your Highness' methods are quite ingenious." Lu Fu spared no effort in praising him. A cold, sinister intent spread across Chu Qingye's face. "I wonder if my dear imperial uncle has hurried over upon hearing that Su Yingshu has entered the palace. I saw the 9th prince enter the palace just now." At this moment, Chu Qingye chuckled lightly and turned to leave. His imperial uncle held Su Yingxue dearly, not allowing anyone to even touch her. How would he feel seeing his beloved woman with another man right now? When Xiao Yu found Su Yingxue, she seemed to be in a deep sleep, leaning against a pillar with her eyes closed. He called out softly, "Miss Su." "Ha! Why is Xiao Yu here?" Su Yingxue was in the Medicine King Valley and could hear Xiao Yu calling her. However, her medicine wasn't ready yet, so she couldn't go out to respond. "Oh. You are attracting another man again." Little ginseng floated in front of Su Yingxue, its long roots swaying. One of them lightly tapped Su Yingxue's face. Su Yingxue swatted it away. She rolled her eyes. "You're the one attracting attention." She didn't intend to provoke Xiao Yu, and it seemed Xiao Yu wasn't interested in her either. However, Chu Qingye's wine was too strong. If she went out now, she wouldn't know what to say to Xiao Yu. Even boiling the hangover soup made her feel dizzy. "Miss Su." Su Yingxue. She heard Xiao Yu call her again. Just as she was considering whether to go out and tell him to leave first, she suddenly heard a muffled groan. Puff! Xiao Yu was struck by Chu Yihan's palm, and his wheelchair shattered into pieces. He spat out a mouthful of blood and immediately fainted. "Xiao Yu." Su Yingxue couldn't hesitate. She quickly stood up and rushed to Xiao Ye's side to check his breathing. He was hanging on by a thread. If Chu Yihan used a bit more force, he would have been done for. Su Yingxue looked at Chu Yihan in distress. "Your Highness, what are you doing? Why would you harm someone for no reason? Are you blaming me? He attempted to touch you, why didn't you evade?" Chu Yihan's chest heaved with anger. He was worried about Su Yingxue's safety in the Empress Palace, so he hurried over to find her. But now, seeing someone trying to harm her, and then being blamed for it. Su Yingxue felt Chu Yihan was being unreasonable. "Your Highness, he's Xiao Yu, the eldest young master of the Xiao family, the nephew of the noble consort. Do you realize what trouble you'll bring if you kill him?" Su Yingxue didn't have time to explain further. She lifted Xiao Yu, fed him a heart protection pill, and began acupuncture to revive him. Just as she was about to insert the third needle, someone grabbed her hand. Chu Yihan questioned her sternly, "Su Yingxue, what's your relationship with him? Why are you so concerned about him?" "I have no relationship with him." "Your Highness, let go quickly, or we won't be able to save him." "Are you so worried about him? If he dies, then so be it." "No. If he dies, there will be consequences." "What consequences should I be worried about?" Chu Yihan pulled Su Yingxue into his arms. Xiao Yu fell to the ground again. Su Yingxue hurriedly pushed Chu Yihan away. "Your Highness, now's not the time to be angry. Let me save him first, then I'll explain everything to you later." Chapter 630, Noble Consort Xiao is angry, explain clearly to me first. Chu Yihan felt an inexplicable surge of anger in his chest. He wasn't a petty person. Su Yingxue had male patients before, but seeing her being intimate with this man made him furious. "Your Highness, saving him is more important." "He is what's going on?" The Empress barged in suddenly, followed by her attendants. Noble Consort Xiao was shocked to see Xiao Yu lying in a pool of blood. "You are. What happened?" She rushed forward to help Xiao Yu, who was covered in blood and barely breathing. "Su Yingxue, what happened here?" There were only 3 of them present. Xiao Ye's injuries couldn't have been caused by anyone else. "Noble Consort, let me treat young Master Xiao first." Su Yingxue struggled to break free from Chu Yihan, but Chu Yihan stubbornly grabbed her. In a moment of desperation, Su Yingxue could only bite Chu Yihan hard. Chu Yihan was caught off guard and let go. Su Yingxue hurried to Xiao Ye's side and continued acupuncture. After 3 needles, Xiao Ye's breathing stabilized, and he was pulled back from the brink of death. "Quick, help young Master Xiao up and take him somewhere safe," Su Yingxue instructed. Granny Song brought a stretcher, and Xiao Yu was carefully placed on it and carried away. Noble Consort Xiao was seething with anger. "Su Yingxue, why did Yu'er come looking for you in this state?" If it was any other elder, even if they had favored Su Yingxue and trusted her with Xiao Yu, they would not be nice to Su Yingxue after seeing their nephew in such a state. Of course, Su Yingxue couldn't let Noble Consort Xiao and Chu Yihan have any conflicts. She said, "Please forgive me, Noble Consort. I was careless when I was treating young Master Xiao." "Is that so?" Noble Consort Xiao snorted. Don't think that she couldn't tell that this was Chu Yihan's doing. If Su Yingxue could shatter a wheelchair while treating her son, she would spell her name backward. Chu Yihan's eyes turned cold. "You don't have to take the blame. It was my doing. If Noble Consort wants to settle the score, she can come to me." Noble Consort Xiao laughed bitterly. "Your Highness, you're quite something. Was this bullying the Xiao family?" "Your Highness, it's not what you think. One was simply treating young Master Xiao. He was just worried about me and came out to find me." Su Yingxu's hangover was wearing off, and she was finally waking up. Su Yingxu's explanation eased Chu Yihan's anger. However, Chu Qingye said, "Indeed, Imperial Uncle didn't see it. Young Master Xiao is very concerned about Yingxue." Despite being in a wheelchair, he still hurried out to find her. Su Yingxue couldn't help but retort, "Seventh Prince, are you out of your mind? What nonsense are you spouting? Why would Xiao Yu come out because he was worried about her? Speaking of which, one can see that young Master Xiao treats Miss Su differently. I heard that young Master Xiao has a cold demeanor and has yet to marry. He's indifferent to women, but he seems fond of Miss Su." The Empress smiled knowingly. The Empress covered her mouth and smiled. As she spoke, she seemed to have thought of something. "By the way, didn't Miss Su stop young Master Xiao from drinking, leading to him coming out for some fresh air because of the alcohol? Could it be that our sudden appearance has ruined your mood?" The Empress' sudden look of realization made it difficult not to interpret things the wrong way. Su Yingxue clenched her teeth in frustration. "Empress, you seem to have quite the imagination." Chapter 631. Save Xiao Yu. Before she could clear her name, Chu Yihan pulled her in front of him. Chu Yihan detected the scent of alcohol on her and asked in a deep voice, "Have you been drinking?" Su Yingxue nodded. "Yes, but it's not what your Highness thinks." Actually, is it for Xiao Yu?" Chu Yihan's sharp, deep eyes locked onto her. The depth of his gaze laid bare all falsehoods. Su Yingxue nodded. "Yes, but this drink was offered by the 7th Prince. What concern is it of yours if he toasted Xiao Yu?" Chu Yihan's voice was cold and deep. "Su Yingxue, I had no idea you were so close to Xiao Yu." "Your Highness," Su Yingxue realized in her heart that this was a scheme orchestrated by Chu Qingye and the Empress. No wonder they insisted on inviting Noble Consort Xiao Yu, and her to Fengzao Palace today. She thought the Empress would take the opportunity to confront her, but she didn't expect her to use Xiao Yu to frame Chu Yihan and incite discord between the Xiao family and Chu Yihan. "Su Yingxue, if anything happens to Yu'er, I won't forgive you." Noble Consort Xiao's face was filled with anger. As she passed by Su Yingxue, she secretly squeezed her hand. Su Yingxue's eyes darkened. She grasped Chu Yihan's hand and whispered, "Your Highness, I feel dizzy. Can you please take me out first? If they continue to linger here, it would only become more difficult to explain. Miss Su is feeling dizzy. Hurry and have someone prepare some hangover remedy for her. The Empress glanced at Chu Qingye. Chu Qingye chuckled. With Imperial Uncle present, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to attend to Miss Su. I'll have to trouble Imperial Uncle. After all, compared to Imperial Uncle, I'm not as familiar with Miss Su as young Master Xiao. He seemed to be avoiding suspicion with Su Yingxue, but when he mentioned Xiao Yu, he was deliberately reminding Chu Yihan that Su Yingshue's relationship with Xiao Yu was not simple. Su Yingxue wished she could shut Chu Qingye's mouth. But now wasn't the time to confront him. She would settle the score later. Chu Yihan left the Empress Palace with a cold expression. Su Yingxue chased after him, calling out, "Your Highness, Your Highness." Chu Yihan was walking too quickly, so she had to jog to catch up. However, she hadn't yet drunk the hangover remedy, so she felt dizzy when she ran. She simply found a small corner and squatted down. She went to Medicine King's Valley first and drank the prepared hangover remedy. When she felt more alert, she would go after Chu Yihan. Chu Yihan had already walked swiftly to the palace gates and was about to leave. Su Yingxue wanted to chase after him to explain, but Granny Song rushed over. "Miss Su, please go and check on him. Young master, you can't hold on anymore. The court physician said he can't be saved." Su Yingshue's heart skipped a beat. If Xiao Yu died at Chu Yihan's hands, it would be over. She couldn't be bothered to chase after Chu Yihan and hurriedly followed Granny Song to noble consort Xiao's palace. Chu Yihan saw Su Yingxue chasing after him from afar. He had missed Su Yingxue for a long time, but he hadn't been able to go to the Marquis Manor to discuss marriage. He was extremely unhappy, and seeing Su Yingxue getting close to Xiao Yu, he acted impulsively. However, she didn't catch up to him. Instead, she was called away by noble consort Xiao's attendants. Chu Yihan's eyes flashed with a deep storm, cold and terrifying. Mo Qi stood beside him, trembling. "Master, shall we return to the residence?" As soon as Su Yingxue arrived in the palace, noble consort Xiao chased all the court physicians out. She had always been composed, but at this moment, she couldn't help but grab Su Yingxue and bring her to Xiao Yu. "Quick! Save him! Yue can't die. If he died, the Xiao family would surely descend into chaos. The century-old foundation of the Xiao family, her position in the palace, and Chu Jinling's future life would all be greatly affected." Chapter 632. Her heart ached for Chu Yihan. Su Yingxue felt Xiao Ye's pulse and sensed that he was still breathing, albeit having suffered serious internal injuries. After administering acupuncture and attending to him for a while, his breathing finally stabilized. When he regained consciousness and could swallow, she gave him another bowl of medicine. Xiao Yu drank it and fell asleep, his life finally secured. Noble consort Xiao kept vigil beside Xiao Yu, and upon seeing a hint of color returning to his pale face, she breathed a sigh of relief. Su Yingxue reassured her, "Noble consort, rest assured. Young Master Xiao's life is out of danger. However, his body is weak and will require some time for recuperation." Noble consort Xiao let out a long sigh. Surviving the 9th prince's attack is already a stroke of luck. A trace of ruthlessness flickered in her eyes. She wasn't going to overlook Chu Yihan's assault on Xiao Yu. Taking the initiative, Su Yingxue admitted her mistake. "Noble consort, this was my fault. I was careless, leading to your highness' anger. I assure you, noble consort, one will spare no effort to heal young Master Xiao. I hope you won't hold your highness accountable." Among the harem members, the strongest wasn't the empress, but noble consort Xiao. Chu Yihan had crossed the empress, so Su Yingxue had no intention of apologizing. However, noble consort Xiao was different. As an imperial consort backed by the wealthy Xiao family, her involvement in disputes was much more complicated than the empress. Noble consort Xiao's eyes gleamed with determination. Forget it. One intended only for you to enter the palace. It was the empress who deceitfully lured you into using my name. Rest assured, that account will be settled with her sooner or later. Noble consort Xiao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Noble consort Xiao's unexpected magnanimity surprised Su Yingxue. Seeing Su Yingxue's expression relax, noble consort Xiao narrowed her eyes and reminded her, although I can let this matter go with ninth prince, I can't decide on Yuer's side. Moreover, Yuer's illness is difficult to cure even after searching for famous doctors all over the world. If you take on this responsibility and can't cure him, I won't be the only one who will come looking for you to settle the score. Su Yingxue smiled. Yes, I understand. Noble consort Xiao had patted her today to tell her that she had never taken the empress scheming to heart. Now, she was merely strategizing to ensure that Su Yingxue would cure Xiao Yu. She was an astute and intelligent individual. Her current position was not without reason. However, Su Yingxue was worried about Yihan and wanted to leave the palace immediately to explain to him and calm his anger. Noble consort Xiao had assigned her a task to safely escort Xiao Yu to the Xiao family's residence in Jiangdu City, the Qilin Garden. Su Yingxue felt conflicted. Why didn't noble consort keep young Master Xiao in the palace for recuperation? Noble consort Xiao shook her head. This palace belongs to the empress, and with its crowded and unclean environment, a single mishap could cost Yuer's life. The empress will not miss the chance to incite discord between the Xiao family and the ninth prince. You must take him out of the palace immediately. Su Yingxue's expression turned serious as she acknowledged noble consort Xiao's cautious and thorough nature. However, if she were to send Xiao Yu to the ninth prince's mansion, she feared that Yihan would remain angry, causing her heart to ache. Mother, as I have no duties in the palace, why not let me escort cousin? Miss Su is also a young lady. What if the empress causes trouble halfway? Jinling entered the main hall. Su Yingxue hadn't seen him for some time. Compared to his previous lively demeanor, he seemed to have become more stable. Chapter 633, Xiao Yu saved Su Miaoyan. Upon reaching noble consort Xiao, Jinling bounced around like a child and leaned towards her side to act coquettishly. Noble consort Xiao's eyes were filled with heartache as she rubbed him. It's so dangerous. You should obediently stay by mother's side. It's because it's dangerous that one want to go. Mother, do you think that just because Miss Su's martial arts are strong, the empress and seventh brother won't make a move on her? If cousin were to die in their hands on the way, Miss Su would be even more confused. But I'm different. I'm the prince and your son. Seventh brother and the empress have to think about how they'll clean up if they hurt me. The smile on Jinling's fair and handsome face was pure. He seemed to be spotless, but his thoughts were meticulous and thorough. Su Yingxue's eyes were filled with admiration. What the ninth prince said makes sense. The empress and the seventh prince have no qualms about me, but they won't dare to touch the ninth prince. Jinling was not only noble consort Xiao's apple but also Chu Minjiwan's favorite son. Even if Chu Qingye didn't like him, he had to be polite to his younger brother. Not to mention sending people to intercept and kill them. Jinling was a very good shield, oh no. Assassination exemption gold medal. Noble consort Xiao also understood this logic, but her heart ached and she could not bear to part with Jinling. Linger, mother is still worried about you. Why doesn't mother send more people to accompany Miss Su and your cousin? You can stay by consort mother's side. Noble consort Xiao was afraid that her heart and liver would be damaged. She wanted to kill someone even if his son lost a strand of hair. Mother. One haven't returned to the residence for a long time, and the materials for writing the book are still in the residence. I'll take these materials and stay at my cousin's place for a while. The scenery of Qilin Garden is good, we'll write some good books and let mother read them. Jinling rubbed noble consort Xiao's hand against her face. Her coquettish voice almost melted noble consort Xiao's heart. Noble consort Xiao nodded helplessly. All right, I'll do as you say. You can change your residence and relieve your boredom. Before she let Jinling go, she reminded him cautiously. Xue, I've handed my son and nephew over to you. If anything goes wrong, I won't forgive you. Xue smiled bitterly. Yes, noble consort. Great. As a woman, she had to protect two men. She glanced at Jinling, who was tall and slender, and shook her head. I can't afford to offend him. I can't afford to offend him. Just as she was about to leave, she suddenly remembered that she had left Miaoyan in the Empress Palace and her face instantly turned pale. Not in front of noble consort Xiao, Jinling called out to her in a relaxed manner. Aunt Su, what's wrong? My sister, she's still in the Empress Palace. This unlucky child, he really shouldn't have brought her out today. Jinling brought her to the side hall where Xiao Yu was lying. He pointed to a little girl beside Xiao Ye's bed and asked. Is that your sister? Miaoyan. Xue quickly rushed in and pulled Miaoyan up to look at her left and right. Fortunately, there was no damage. Miaoyan threw herself into Yingshu's arms, her soft voice carrying a trace of guilt. Sister, I've implicated you and brother. I'm sorry. Brother saved me. Xiao Yu. Yingshu's eyes were filled with confusion. Jinling remembered and said. Before this, when cousin woke up, he said something to Xiao Si. After that, mother sent someone to the Empress Palace and brought your sister back. I think it was cousin's orders when he woke up. Young Master Xiao is very thoughtful. Yingshu sighed softly. Chapter 634, Retribution of Fengzao Palace. If Xiao Yu hadn't remembered to remind Xiao Si, she would have felt guilty for the rest of her life if she couldn't save Miaoyan when she rushed to the Empress Palace. Sister, can you save brother? Will he be okay? Miaoyan had a blind admiration for Yingshu, and in her heart, she prayed fervently, Xiao Yu, please, please. Please don't let anything happen. He was such a good and handsome brother. Yingshu rubbed her head. Sister will cure him, your handsome brother. When Yingshu said this, she didn't think about why Xiao Yu would especially save Miaoyan. Miaoyan also hid her gratitude and joy very well. Xiao Yu was carefully carried out of the palace in a sedan chair. When Yingshu passed by Fengzao Palace, she stopped for a moment. Jinling winked at her considerately. Auntie, how do you want to teach the Empress a lesson? Yingshu raised her eyebrows at him tacitly. Do you want to come together? Of course, Jinling didn't mind causing trouble for the Empress. After all, this was also a chance for his mother to vent her anger. Yingshu took out a bottle of medicinal powder and sprinkled it on Jinling's body. Jinling went in to greet the Empress and also met Qingye. When he came out, he smiled smugly at Yingshu. It's done. Yingshu followed him out of the palace and sat in the carriage. Jinling ate the medicine that Yingshu handed over. He asked curiously, what effect does the powder on my body have? The corners of Yingshu's mouth curled up coldly. The Empress Palace uses an extremely thick ambergris. You apply it to the powder on your body. I added a few medicines to counter the ambergris. In Fengzao Palace, the Empress was happy that her plan had succeeded today, but she suddenly began to sneeze violently one after another. Achoo! Achoo! She was not the only one. Lu Fu, who was serving her closely, also began to sneeze crazily. A few of them faced the Empress and sprayed snot all over her. The Empress was furious. Lu Fu, you bastard. Do you want to die? Achoo! Chu Qingye sneezed non-stop with them. Fengzao Palace had been very noisy in the first half of the night. By the second half of the night, everyone in the palace had started to have nightmares. They were all howling and screaming when they didn't sleep. Some even grabbed people and strangled them. The Empress was almost strangled to death. Chu Qingye barely managed to protect the Empress, but he provoked Chu Minyuan. Chu Minyuan was pushed down by a palace servant and executed on the spot. He went to see the Empress and was scratched by her. He was so angry that he slapped the Empress and punished the people of Fengzao Palace. They were all confined in the palace and could not leave without permission. When noble consort Xiao heard about Fengzao Palace, she couldn't stop smiling. Granny Song went to investigate and reported to her. Your Highness, it must be Miss Su who did it. Before she left the palace with Your Highness, she asked Your Highness to pay his respects to the Empress Palace. Not long after they left, Fengzao Palace was in chaos. Noble consort Xiao gently pressed the expensive skincare lotion on her face and her red lips curled up slightly. What a vengeful Su Yingxue. She had guts. The Empress insists on going against her. I'm waiting to see how she will be strangled to death by Su Yingxue. After leaving the palace, Su Yingxue was chased to the 9th prince's mansion by Chu Jinling. Xiao Yu and Su Miaoyan, he helped her send them off one by one, so she didn't need to worry about them. Su Yingxue did not have anything to worry about him. Chu Jinling looked like he was not good at literature or martial arts, but his brain was the best. At this moment, the Empress did not have the time to deal with him. However, when she asked Chu Jinling why he did that, a hint of sorrow instantly appeared on Chu Jinling's face. Chapter 635, Tiger in the Road, I miss Cece. I can't be with her, but it's good to see you and Imperial Uncle together. Lovers should be together rather than suffer. You must be with Imperial Uncle. I will. Su Yingxue entered the 9th prince's mansion. The old steward and Mo Qi had been waiting for her with tearful eyes. Mo Qi almost knelt in front of her. Miss Su, why are you only here now? Your Highness, I'm late. Where is Your Highness? Su Yingxue was also anxious. The 9th prince's mansion was huge, but Chu Yihan usually stayed in the study room and bedroom. If he was in a good mood, he would be in the study. If he was in a bad mood, he would be in the study. It was probably the man's stubborn habit. Mo Qi led Su Yingxue to the study room. Su Yingxue had walked this path many times, but this time, she felt danger. Roar! Before she could get close, a vigorous white figure jumped out and blocked her way. Its tiger roar just now was even more terrifying. A weaker noble lady would have fainted from fear long ago at this moment, frightened by Shan Bao. Su Yingxue's legs also shook symbolically. Shan Bao raised its head and roared at her. Roar! It meant blocking the way. It opened its bloody mouth as if it were saying that it could swallow Su Yingxue's head. Shan Bao, Miss Su has no time for you. She wants to find Your Highness now. Go back to Tiger Mountain and sleep. Mo Qi commanded it. It was a tiger that only had intelligence. It had always been cold and aloof, and it listened to Chu Yihan's words. It would never hurt people at will. Therefore, Tiger Mountain did not have any defenses against him. It could move around. Shan Bao ignored Mo Chi's words and used its claws to smash a rock in front of it. The power of the tiger claw was extraordinary. Mo Chi looked at the powder under Shan Bao's claws and looked at Su Yingxue helplessly. Miss Su, Shan Bao will listen to your highness. In other words, if Shan Bao didn't make way, she probably wouldn't be able to see Yihan. Su Yingxue should be afraid of tigers. Moreover, her interactions with Shan Bao previously were not very pleasant. The old steward also ordered the white tiger not to move. To prevent Su Yingxue from getting hurt, he kindly advised, Miss Su, it's getting late today. Why don't you stay in the residence for the night and have a good talk with your highness tomorrow? The old steward knew that Yihan favored Su Yingxue to a certain extent. Your highness would only blame him for keeping Su Yingxue behind without permission. But Su Yingxue didn't. Although she was afraid of Shan Bao, she still mustered her courage and took a step forward, trying to communicate with it. Shan Bao, you can understand human language, right? Roar. Shan Bao rolled its eyes and bared its teeth at her. Looking down on a tiger. Why? Even dogs could become humans' dear friends and listen obediently. It was the king of beasts, the white tiger. How could it not understand a few words of human language? Su Yingxue was looking down on it. Su Yingxue saw its reaction and smiled. Shan Bao, let's make a deal. Can you let me go in and meet your highness? Roar. He roared at Su Yingxue's face. It was an obvious rejection. Su Yingxue tried to pat its head, but as soon as she reached out her hand, Shan Bao clawed at it. Fortunately, Su Yingxue dodged quickly, or else her hand would have been broken. Shan Bao touched its face and turned its butt towards Su Yingxue, raising its tail. Disdain. Su Yingxue gritted her teeth. Shan Bao, let me tell you. Today, you have to make way, even if you don't want to. Chapter 636, Tame it with your own abilities, roar. Shan Bao jumped in front of Su Yingxue and opened its bloody mouth. The sharpness of its teeth was terrifying. The more it jumped, the closer Su Yingxue got to it. Come on, if you dare, bite me. Scratch me. Try to touch me. Shan Bao was surprised by her action. Shan Bao licked its paws, seemingly ready to attack. Mo Chi was concerned about Su Yingxue's safety, so he kindly reminded her, Miss Su, why don't you meet your highness tomorrow? Shan Bao only listens to your highness. He had been Shan Bao's caretaker for so long, yet he never received a kind look from it. Su Yingxue wasn't acquainted with it, and if Shan Bao bit her, it would be unjust. If I can't tame it, why should I be with your highness? Su Yingxue lifted the hem of her dress and glared at Shan Bao. She took another step closer to it. Come on, I want to go in and see your highness today. Are you going to let me in or not? Shan Bao shook its tiger head. It wouldn't allow it. A trace of pride flashed across Su Yingxue's eyes. This tiger was very ferocious, but it did not dare to bite her. She took another step forward, and Shan Bao retreated again. As she prepared to take the third step, Shan Bao turned fierce. Its menacing demeanor was terrifying to anyone. Su Yingxue's heart trembled, but she spotted Yihan's figure in the study window. He was still there. She couldn't back down from this stinky tiger. Su Yingxue didn't care how Shan Bao shouted or scared her. She just kept walking forward. Shan Bao wanted to pounce on her, so she simply stood where she was. When she saw Shan Bao pounce on her, she even fed it with her hand. If you dare to eat, go ahead. Roar. Shan Bao had rolled sideways and fallen to the ground, rolling and gathering dust before rising unceremoniously. It gritted its teeth. How hateful. It was a disgrace to its very existence, unable to even intimidate a woman. This woman must have nerves of steel. Su Yingxue, seeing Shan Bao moping behind her with resentful eyes, knew for sure that it was merely bluffing, not daring to harm her for Frail. It was Chu Yihan's tiger, naturally obedient to Chu Yihan. Chu Yihan still cared for her deeply. Even the untamed Shan Bao was now compliant. Shan Bao lay on the ground, eyes full of resentment, belly growling with hunger. It couldn't allow her to approach, yet it couldn't harm her either. Its flesh was gone just like that. What a pitiful white tiger. Steward, please fetch some meat. Su Yingxue squatted before Shan Bao, offering a sweet smile. Shan Bao disdainfully turned its head aside. A male, it admired female animals, not humans. It wasn't a sucker for flattery. The old steward swiftly arranged for 10 pounds of meat to be brought in, all fresh. Su Yingxue emptied a bucket of meat before Shan Bao and patted its tiger head. Feast, it's an extra meal. Shan Bao's tiger eyes gleamed. So generous. However, it had integrity. It was not so easily swayed. It turned its head away, refusing Su Yingxue's kindness. Su Yingxue tilted her head, producing a small bottle from her sleeve. She sprinkled its contents over the meat, emitting an irresistible fragrance despite being raw. Shan Bao's saliva dripped down as it glared at Su Yingxue. Woman, you're immoral. Are you trying to tempt it like this? Would it just accept it? Kikik, Shan Bao crunched on the ribs, relishing each bite. After devouring the meat, it savored the delicacy. Chapter 637. Staying in Chu Yihan's study, Su Yingxue rubbed its head affectionately and said, "Eat obediently. Don't stop me in the future, 111 come to give you extra food every day." Shan Bao ignored her, but it had already made up its mind. Blocking people wasn't a job suitable for a majestic purebred white tiger. Su Yingxue crossed Shan Bao and went straight to Chu Yihan's study room, pushing the door open. Bang! She collided with the door, which Chu Yihan had locked tightly. She almost knocked her teeth out. "Your Highness, your door is too sturdy. Can you open it?" Su Yingxue rubbed her red nose. It hurt a little. There was no sound from inside, but Su Yingxue saw Chu Yihan's figure reflected in the window. He was still there. He was probably just angry. Su Yingxue thought to herself that she had to think of a way to get him to open the door. Otherwise, how could he explain it? In the study room, Chu Yihan held a military book. He hadn't flipped a single page the entire night. Naturally, he hadn't read a single word of the book. His mind was filled with Su Yingxue. She was already outside the door. However, he was angry and didn't want to open the door for some reason. If only Su Yingxue could say a few words softly and act coquettishly. He might want to open the door and look at the moon tonight. However, after sitting for a while, other than Su Yingxue knocking on the door, there was no sound from outside. Chu Yihan's heart sank. She left. Had she been busy in the palace for Xiao and only came to look for him now? How long had it been? Did she lose patience and leave? The anger that Chu Yihan had suppressed with great difficulty instantly flared up again. It seemed that she and Xiao were not simple. Chu Yihan's eyes darkened. He was flipping through the military book when he heard a woman scream outside the door. "Oh! Su Yingxue!" Chu Yihan's figure flew to the door. As soon as he opened it, a soft and warm little person jumped into his arms. Su Yingxue stuck her head out and held his face. Her pink cherry lips contained a trace of grievance as she said, "Your Highness, it's so cold outside. Can I come in?" Chu Yihan wanted to throw her out. She was deliberately scaring him. His eyes were cold. Come down. No. It's cold outside, Your Highness' body is warm. Su Yingxue wrapped her legs around Chu Yihan. This position was very comfortable, and Chu Yihan's body was warm. She didn't want to come down and enjoy the cold wind. You're genius, Dr. Su, and you're skilled. Why are you afraid of the cold? Come down. Chu Yihan's eyes were filled with frustration. As he spoke, he pulled her down. Su Yingxue had no choice but to cling to him again. This time, she wrapped her arms around his neck and leaned against his chest. Su Yingxue started to act shamelessly. The genius doctor is also human. Humans are afraid of the cold. One think Your Highness is also afraid of the cold. Let me help you warm up. She said it very confidently. Unfortunately, Chu Yihan, who was in a fit of anger, did not fall for her trick. He pulled hard and Su Yingxue was separated from him. Chu Yihan pushed her out of the room and was about to close the door. However, the moonlight tonight was too bright. When he raised his head, he saw Su Yingxue's red nose. What happened? Chu Yihan asked, feeling distressed. Could it be that he was bullied in noble Consort Xiao's palace? Su Yingxue pouted, and her voice was as soft as a mosquito's. I didn't expect Your Highness to close the door. When I pounced over just now, I bumped into the door. Chu Yihan laughed coldly. Su Yingxue, are you that stupid? There are still many times when I'm stupid. For example, I didn't tell Your Highness before entering the palace today and was schemed together with Your Highness. When Your Highness left the palace, one didn't catch up and caused you to be angry for an entire day. It's all because of my stupidity. Chapter 638, Marry You, okay? Su Yingxue drooped her head as her pair of beautiful red eyes blinked, making people's hearts flutter. Chu Yihan sneered. You're not too stupid to recognize this, but you're wrong about one thing. I don't have time to be angry with you for a day. Your Highness, you're not angry anymore. That's great. Su Yingxue jumped into the study room and closed the door behind her. Chu Yihan's expression turned even colder when he saw how excited she was. This was a house, but it was even colder than the winter outside. Su Yingxue immediately jumped onto Chu Yihan. She hugged him and explained softly, It's best if Your Highness isn't angry, but you have to know that there's nothing between Xiao and me. Because the Xiao family has provided Grandpa with a lot of military supplies, and because of noble consort Xiao's request, I agreed to cure his illness. Today, it was purely because of the Empress and your sinister nephew's scheme. When Chu Qingye was mentioned, Su Yingxue wanted to tear him apart. When Chu Yihan heard this, his arms that were hanging by his side supported Su Yingxue's body. Su Yingxue nodded. Chu Yihan snapped, If I don't hold you up, do you want to fall? I don't want to. Su Yingxue shook her head repeatedly. Your Highness, lift me a little. I'll lean on your face to keep warm. Chu Yihan's stunning face became more and more pleasing to the eye the more he looked at it. The more he looked at it, the more he wanted to get close to it. It was a pleasure that he could not enjoy anymore. Chu Yihan did as she said and let her legs wrap around his waist, allowing her to hover above his body. Since Su Yingxue had the upper hand, she naturally wouldn't be polite to Chu Yihan. His eyebrows, his cheeks, his thin lips, every part of them had her kiss imprinted on them. Su Yingxue's lips landed on Chu Yihan's, and her breath was like orchids. Your Highness, can you not be angry anymore? Anger is bad for the body. She also couldn't bear to. Chu Yihan's breathing became heavy. No matter how angry he was today, Su Yingxue's soft words were enough to resolve it. His heart was warmed by her. Chu Yihan nodded. Yes. Your Highness is the most righteous. After I treat Xiao Yu, I will make it up to you. Su Yingshu smiled and covered his lips again. This time, she had a new attempt. No man could withstand such teasing, let alone Yihan, who loved her to the bone. The kiss deepened, and their positions changed. Yihan's sexy voice enveloped her like a hot spring. How are you going to make it up to me, huh? I marry you, is that okay? Su Yingshu's pretty face was flushed red. Her pearly white teeth gently bit her pink lips. It was a beautiful scene that could make one's blood boil. Yihan kissed her fiercely. All right, I'll take this compensation, but you? As soon as possible. People kept appearing around her, causing her trouble. He did not want to miss her again. I promise your Highness, I will definitely. As soon as possible. Su Yingshu bit her lips slightly. As long as Xiao Yu came back to life, she would make a deal with him. She would let him forget about Yihan hurting him, and she would be willing to cooperate with the Xiao family. Then, she would immediately report to her grandpa about her relationship with Yihan. Regardless of whether her grandpa would agree or not, she would not hesitate. The air was filled with lingering emotions. Yihan held her in his arms and gently patted her back. I was reckless today. One will explain this to the Xiao family. You don't have to worry. Chapter 639. Xiao Yu poisoned Su Yingshu lay on his chest and smiled sweetly. Your Highness, you don't have to blame yourself. I've already saved Xiao Yu today, so he'll be fine. However, since the Empress and Chu Qingye have taken action, I don't think Xiao Yu will be able to stay in Jiangdu City in peace. Why don't I work with him? You want to work with him? How? When Yihan heard this, a hint of displeasure appeared on his face. Su Yingshu knew that he cared, but she had no choice but to explain the matter clearly. Instead of being targeted, they might as well take the initiative to attack and make Chu Qingye, the prince, and the empress get lost. In the Qilin garden, Su Yingshu went to treat Xiao Yu the next day. Her acupuncture technique was superb and could relieve Xiao Yu's pain and restore his spirit. At the same time, Su Yingshu helped him expel a portion of the poisonous blood in his body. Miss Su, what's going on? Why is young master's blood this color? Xiao Si stared in astonishment at the copper basin, where the blood flowing from Xiao Yu's wrist was a dark purple. Su Yingshu, unaware of the Xiao family's circumstances and unsure of Xiao Si's loyalty to Xiao Yu, instructed, go find the 9th prince and hand this over to him. I'll continue administering acupuncture to your young master. But, although Xiao Si was very worried, he knew his boundaries and promptly delivered the item Su Yingshu had given him to Chu Jinling. Once she left, Su Yingshu closed the door and explained to Xiao Yu, I'm not familiar with the situation in your Xiao family, so I won't easily let anyone know about your illness. I had to send him away. Xiao Yu nodded, his sickly handsome face retaining its usual coldness. You're right, but is my blood due to internal injuries? No, it's from poisoning. Su Yingshu pointed to the blood in the copper basin and clarified, yesterday, your Highness injured you. I helped remove the blood clot from your chest, which was bright red. But this basin of dark blood is tainted by toxins accumulated in your body. Poisoned. Xiao Yu's eyes held scrutiny as he looked at Su Yingshu meaningfully. Su Yingshu could sense his guardedness and said, it's understandable if you don't believe me. After all, despite seeing many doctors since childhood, none of them detected the poisoning. But I can assure you, your poor health since childhood isn't due to congenital factors but rather decades of poisoning. Xiao Yu propped himself up on the bed's edge, his bony hands gripping the frame with a creak. The intense emotions in his eyes contrasted with his previous indifference. What poison? How did you discover it? I don't know why other doctors didn't notice, but I did. Before you arrived, I knew a poison doctor, Saint Juan. When we had spare time, we researched medicinal poisons together. There's no obvious poison in your body, but the cause lies in your diet. For decades, you've been consuming foods that counteract each other, resulting in food poisoning. It gradually weakens your body and organs until premature death. Xiao Ye's eyes betrayed disbelief. For some reason, when Su Yingxue spoke, he subconsciously believed her. Her steadiness made him feel assured. Xiao Yu summoned the steward from Qilin Garden. Although he was not a servant of the Xiao family's head, he was still a person transferred from the main family. He had many years of experience and was extremely reliable. Xiao Yu said that he was hungry and asked them to serve lunch. He also brought the menu that they had prepared for him recently. Chapter 640. Working with Xiao Yu. The steward didn't know what Xiao Yu was going to do, but he immediately ordered someone to prepare lunch and sent the menu over. He looked at Xiao Yu, who was sitting on the bed without any intention of eating, and asked nervously, "Eldest young master, do you need me to serve you? Or should one call Xiao Si over?" "Steward, your young master's lunch is sumptuous. Shark's fin soup with shredded abalone, ginseng bird's nest, and even a simple vegetable dish are all prepared so exquisitely. Truly befitting of the Xiao family," Su Yingxue teased with a smile. The steward felt somewhat relieved and replied with a smile, "Miss Su, you flatter us. The eldest young master is the heir of the Xiao family. Who would dare to neglect his meals? However, the young master just mentioned being hungry. Is there something unsatisfactory about the dishes? Should one have the kitchen prepare another table?" Xiao Ye's meals were always prepared in advance, with backups. 20 dishes per meal were the norm, and if there were guests, even more would be prepared. Despite this, Xiao Yu remained seated on the bed without showing any interest in eating. On the contrary, Su Yingxue examined the menu with great interest. "Your young master has 20 dishes for each meal, and there's even a team of chefs dedicated to his service. Are you responsible for changing the menu daily?" Naturally, young master's meals are meticulously taken care of. Qilin Garden is exclusively responsible for the young master's meals. There are 12 chefs, from the main course to snacks. As for the menu, it was sent by the main family. Every time the young master goes somewhere, the main family ensures that all his daily needs are met. Especially this menu, as instructed by the main family, the young master's diet must strictly adhere to it without any deviation, the steward replied in detail, fearing to upset the eldest young master. In his presence, the steward felt a palpable pressure emanating from Xiao Yu, different from Chu Yihan's imposing aura but equally intimidating. Su Yingxue smiled. "Understood. I'll dine with your young master. You can go ahead and attend to your duties." "Very well, Miss Su. Feel free to let me know if you need anything," the steward said before wiping the sweat off his forehead and leaving nervously. Once he was gone, Su Yingxue took out a pen and began making notes on the menu. She then handed it to Xiao Yu. "There's indeed an issue with your diet. Each day's meals are rich, but there are conflicting ingredients in every dish. Having them occasionally isn't a problem, but you've been consuming them for years." Su Yingxue couldn't help but marvel at the ruthlessness of such aristocratic families. To harm Xiao Yu, they had patiently set up this scheme over many years, making it difficult for anyone to detect. Xiao Ye's meals were very sumptuous. Even if he did not eat until the time of mutual restriction, he would still be affected if he ate for many years. Moreover, this method was not even able to diagnose the illness. If it weren't for her mother's medical skills and Saint Juan's love of dragging her along to study blindly, even she wouldn't have been able to find the source. Xiao Ye's hand that was holding the menu trembled slightly. He seemed to have recalled something that made him agitated. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Puff! Su Yingxue quickly helped him up and used silver needles to stabilize his heart pulse, allowing him to fall asleep again. When he woke up, the millet porridge that Su Yingxue had made was ready. She had personally brought something and made it in Xiao Ye's room. Chapter 641, The Essence of a Merchant. She handed it to Xiao Yu and said, "One made this. There's no problem. With your current condition, you can't do anything. You should rest first." "Thank you." Xiao Yu accepted her kindness and drank the millet porridge and the medicine she gave him. He trusted Su Yingxue very much. However, he knew Su Yingxue's intentions. Ninth Prince hurting me was a trap set up by Fengzao Palace. I won't hold it against you. You don't have to worry. Young Master Xiao is a reasonable person. I'm not worried about this. What I'm worried about is... No, I want to cooperate with you on another matter. Su Yingxue sat in front of Xiao Yu and said frankly. Cooperation. Xiao Yu frowned as if he was surprised. One believe young Master Xiao has discovered your illness. One was unwilling to tell you about it at first. Xiao Yu nodded. If you had told me directly on the day I went to the Marquis Manor, there would not have been such a thing in the palace. You wanted to see my aunt, so you probably wanted to tell her about my illness and let her deal with the matter of me being poisoned. He could not help but admire Su Yingxue's intelligence and thoughtfulness. If he had been told that he had been poisoned that day, he would have investigated the person who had poisoned him. The Xiao family's head would have a bloody storm. This would cause the Xiao family to be in turmoil. That was why she thought that if noble consort Xiao were to take action, the commotion would be much smaller. This way, she, who was treating him, and her Marquis Manor would not be affected by the Xiao family. After all, the Xiao family was a huge force with complicated roots. If anything happened, she would not be able to deal with it at once. However, the situation was different now. What do you want to cooperate with me for? Xiao Yu asked her. The Xiao family is a merchant family. Naturally, I want to do business with young Master Xiao. The corners of Su Yingxue's mouth curled up slightly. Other than medical skills, do you have any other skills that you are proficient in? Although the Xiao family is also involved in the pharmaceutical industry, these are not the main industries. Industries that cannot bring huge profits are not worth my effort. Although Xiao Yu was weak, his brain was still good. Su Yingxue could also tell that he had exposed the nature of a businessman. However, what she wanted to tell Xiao Yu was, medicine is not only a profitable industry, but it is also beneficial to oneself and the people. If the Xiao family wants to stand tall, an heir like you must have a strong body. Xiao Ye's heart skipped a beat. Su Yingxue had hit his sore spot. Or rather, it was the point that he cared about the most. A good body was what he yearned for the most in his life. If he could live longer, then the Xiao family would be able to prosper. Xiao Ye's thoughts were cleared up in an instant. He looked at Su Yingxue. How do you want to cooperate? Let the hundreds of cities in the Great Qing dynasty be filled with the clinic that Su Yingxue and the Xiao family have cooperated to open. We will cultivate a group of outstanding doctors and solve the difficult and miscellaneous diseases in this world one by one. Su Yingxue's beautiful eyes turned deep. With just this sentence, Xiao Yu agreed to her. Deal. The two of them talked about their cooperation until late at night. If Xiao Ye's body could not support it, they would have talked all night. There is still a long way to go. I will come and check your pulse every day. Before our cooperation begins, please take care of yourself, young Master Xiao. Su Yingxue's hand landed on Xiao Ye's shoulder and pinched him hard. Yes. Xiao Yu nodded in agreement. Chapter 642, Chu Jinling's painting. Vivid. He had only recently met Su Yingxue, yet he had already bestowed upon her sincerity and trust. Perhaps it was her resilience and broad-mindedness that was very attractive. Su Yingxue stepped out under the moon and happened to encounter Chu Jinling's painting in the garden. He had a very good sense of leisure and elegance. Amidst the flowers and under the moonlight, he was boiling wine with green plums in the pavilion. His brush was slowly outlining the graceful figure of a woman. Su Yingxue had walked behind him, but he had not noticed it. Perhaps he was too engrossed in his painting. Su Yingxue wanted to greet him but was afraid of interrupting. When he finished his stroke, he sighed at the painting. Sigh, I didn't do well again. Cece's eyes are very beautiful. Chu Jinling looked disappointed as he took down the painting. Su Yingxue took it and examined it. It's quite good. Auntie. Chu Jinling looked pleasantly surprised. You haven't left yet. What have you been talking about with my cousin for so long? Discussing his illness. Su Yingxue replied as she carefully examined Chu Jinling's painting. It had to be said that Chu Jinling, the ninth prince, was the least competent in the struggle for the throne, but when it came to music, chess, calligraphy, painting, poetry, and literature, no prince could surpass him in these refined pursuits. His depiction of Lin Cece wielding a spear, clad in armor, with her hair billowing in the wind, was truly lifelike. It was as if the valiant girl were right before their eyes. Su Yingxue's eyes held a hint of regret. Such a good painting, yet Cece can't see it. I had someone deliver a painting to her. Chu Jinling muttered, then grimaced. But one couldn't let her know it was from me, so I had to have it sent to the military camp. However, there was an annoying junior officer who happened to visit Cece that day and made her think he painted it. She was so grateful to him. It infuriated me. Su Yingxue couldn't help but laugh at this story. If it weren't for noble consort Xiao's people keeping an eye on Chu Jinling and prohibiting him from approaching Lin Cece, he would have surely burst out and given that officer a beating when he found out his painting was being falsely claimed, right? How pitiful. Su Yingxue took the painting to keep it safe. I'll deliver this painting to Cece for you. She would never claim Chu Jinling's painting as her own. You can give it to her, but just say you painted it. Chu Jinling sighed heavily. She'll miss me when she sees the painting, but mother has forbidden me from seeing her again. If mother finds out, she won't spare Cece. I can't protect her, and one don't want to cause her any more trouble. Chu Jinling picked up the wine jug from the stone table and took a sip. Su Yingxue's heart ached a little as she watched. All right, I know what to do. After all, she was just an outsider. Perhaps this was all she could do. Hey, wait. Auntie, when you go to see Cece, if you have time, please help me prepare these for her. Chu Jinling handed her a piece of paper listing a few snacks. These are all Cece's favorites. She's currently training in the military camp and can't often indulge in them. Help deliver them to her. I've also listed where to buy these delicious dried fruits. Since I'm calling you auntie, I'm counting on you. Chu Jinling winked at her, clearly being a bit cheeky. But Su Yingxue looked into his clear eyes and nodded. Okay. Chapter 643, It's impossible to bring you courtesy should be reciprocated. Chu Jinling whispered in her ear, next time you need to discuss something with my cousin, feel free to find me. One promise to help you handle it. Then I won't hesitate. Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. She had to make the most of Chu Jinling's intelligence. In the Marquis manor, as soon as Su Yingxue returned, she encountered Su Miaoyan. Shamelessly, Su Miaoyan entered her room, rummaging through her paintings and engaging in idle chatter. After pulling her to sit on the soft couch, Su Miaoyan casually asked, "Sister, how is young Master Xiao Ye's health?" "It's fine. He won't die," Su Yingxue replied casually. "When will he recover then?" "Just needs good care. It'll take about a year or so. Can you take me with you next time to see him?" "No." Su Yingxue removed the hairpin and turned to look at her. "Why?" Su Miaoyan suddenly jumped off the couch, the tassels on her hair swaying. "Why do you want to see Xiao? You've only met him a few times, and you're already thinking about him." Su Yingxue's gaze was piercing, as if she could see through Su Miaoyan. "Because he's good-looking." Su Miaoyan puffed up her cheeks. "This is the first time I've seen such a handsome brother." "Haven't you seen Ninth Prince before?" Su Yingxue knocked on her head. With Yihan in the picture, why did Su Miaoyan act like she hadn't seen much of the world? Not everyone likes someone like Ninth Prince. Ninth Prince is cold. Whoever he looks at turns into a dead person. He's nothing like a handsome brother. He's so gentle and caring. He's the best looking. Su Miaoyan cupped her small face, feeling elated. Su Yingxue shrugged. Indeed, everyone had their preferences. Sigh. No. One admit Ninth Prince is cold, but Xiao, how is he gentle and caring? Su Yingxue suddenly realized. Xiao wasn't as lethal as Yihan, but could he be considered gentle and caring? Su Yingxue pulled Su Miaoyan in front of her and started prying open her thoughts. "What's in your little head? You seem smart, but why do you become dull when it comes to men?" "Sister, you're the dull one." "Ouch, my head." Su Miaoyan finally escaped Su Yingxue's grip and sat on the soft couch, pouting. "Sister, are you taking me with you? If not, 111 sleep in your room and refuse to leave." Su Yingxue scoffed. "Taking you with me is impossible. What if something happened again?" Xiao Ye's Qilin garden wasn't a safe place for Su Miaoyan to play around. Finally, she was going to sleep here. Su Yingxue was indifferent. "You can sleep in any corner of this room. If you catch a cold, there are plenty of good medicines in the medicine hut." Su Miaoyan's little head shook. She suddenly doubted whether the Su Yingxue in front of her had been replaced. How could it be like this? However, she wasn't someone who would give in. She fell onto the soft couch. "I don't care if one catch a cold. Grandpa will feel sorry for me anyway. I'm not afraid." Su Yingxue snorted lightly. "You're young but quite temperamental. As expected of a young girl from the Su family." "No." The man's voice startled Su Miaoyan. Chapter 644. Grandpa found out when she saw Yihan, who had appeared out of nowhere. She immediately scrambled to her feet. "Greetings, Your Highness." Yihan uttered an affirmative grunt, then asked her, "You can't sleep here?" Su Miaoyan forced down the word "why." After pondering for a moment, she propped up her chin and said, "Your Highness, you can ask me to go back to my room, but I want to go see brother with sister. Xiao. I promise you," Yihan replied calmly. "Your Highness, this," Su Yingxue lamented, holding her forehead. "Isn't this a bit rushed?" Su Miaoyan was mischievous. Su Yingxue felt that trouble might arise if she went to see Xiao. However, Su Miaoyan paid no heed. Having received Yihan's permission, she bowed happily to him. "Thank you, Your Highness. Miaoyan won't disturb Your Highness and sister's night." After saying that, she ran off. Su Yingxue tried to bring her back for a scolding, but she couldn't catch her. Instead, Yihan pulled her into his arms. "Your sister wants to go see Xiao. Why stop her?" Don't you know how terrifying the Xiao family is, Your Highness? Miao Miao is so young. Letting her get curious about Xiao Yu. What if there's a connection between them in the future? Then she would be truly guilty. She's just a child. She wants to see Xiao Yu because of his appearance. Or do you think a young master of the Xiao family would bother with a little girl? Resting his chin on her shoulder, Chu Yihan's breath was warm. Su Yingshu's neck felt a little itchy. Your Highness, you're right, but she's still a girl. We have to be cautious. With cousin's example, the daughters of the Su family should be careful. He didn't want them to follow in Su Han's footsteps. Chu Yihan buried his head in the crook of her neck and chuckled. When can I come to propose to the Su family's girls? Su Yingshu was stunned and remained silent for a long time. Chu Yihan opened his eyes slightly, but Su Yingshu quickly concealed her panic. She didn't want Chu Yihan to notice. I've been busy these past few days, she said cleverly. I'll just mention it to grandfather. With her peach blossom-like face emitting endless charm, Chu Yihan kissed her lips. Just as the temperature between them rose, there was a commotion outside the door. Oh, Su Yingshu accidentally bit Chu Yihan's lip. Hiss, Chu Yihan wiped away the blood from his lip. However, Su Yingshu had already peeked outside the door. She bent over to take a look, then turned around and leaned heavily against the door. She let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, no one noticed. It was probably just a bird flying in the courtyard. Don't you like the thrill of a secret affair? Chu Yihan lifted her chin with a finger, his eyes bewitching, completely different from his usual cold demeanor. It was as if he wanted to captivate her. Unable to resist, Su Yingshu leaned on his neck and bit him again. Bite! Harder this time. With force. Yingshu, it's late. Haven't you rested yet? The old man's voice was slightly hoarse but full of vitality. Su Yingshu's heart truly trembled now. She looked around her room and finally pushed Chu Yihan into her bathroom. Gesturing for him to be quiet, she whispered, I'm sorry, Your Highness. I won't make a sound. Please don't let anyone find out. Why are you so nervous? Even if the old general finds out, I'll explain it to him properly. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.